I would say he's going in the exact opposite route of where he started. It's kind of like the good and bad guys of wrestling. For 1 year, they're the hero, then suddenly they're the villain. Coach Greg and Alex Eubank is the most toxic social media influencer of all. And you were thinking, no, it can't be. It had to be Togi. But here's the thing. You know what you're getting for when you subscribe to Togi. From day one, he was blasting hella gear, sniffing creatine, and gambling. And so if you're too stupid to realize that he's not a positive influence, then I don't know what to tell you. But Alex Eubank, in comparison, he was so wholesome. He got you addicted with his Christianity, telling you to stay natural, and being an all-around great guy. And so what he did is he got you hooked. Addicted to being a positive influence. But then suddenly he hops on and starts using gear. And yeah, it's being disguised as being HRT, but we all know it's more than that. Does anyone really think that HRT causes you to put on 12 pounds of muscle in 5 weeks? And not only that, he's now promoting gambling. And so at least with Togi, you knew what to expect. But with Alex Eubank, many a people, they could relate to him. You don't need all that much size, and you can be a good human being. But then suddenly their hero hops on, starts promoting gambling, and so now what? And so I do believe it's very, very toxic. And so because he's pivoted so far, I would say he's going in the exact opposite route of where he started. It's kind of like the good and bad guys of wrestling. For 1 year, they're the hero, then suddenly they're the villain. Alex Eubank, I do believe he's planned all this. He knows what he's doing. And he's trying to be extremely controversial, just like Togi. Millions of fans who respected and watched Alex Eubank, in my opinion, many of them are going to be swayed to use steroids and perhaps start gambling. Remember, even if it's only 1%, 1% of a million, that's 10,000 people. And so if Alex Eubank is so easily influenced that Togi, just a couple months with Togi, and now he's on gear and gambling, imagine how much more influential Alex Eubank's subs are. Many of them are only teenagers. And so guys, please be careful of who your role models are. You might have been thinking, no, Coach Greg is the most toxic influencer. I've watched the videos. He's the most hated influencer of all. What a horrible guy.
Greg goddamn Doucette.
A guy who used to be addicted to performance-enhancing drugs was doing them, abusing them for 10 years, but since that time has realized the errors of his ways and trying to convince the world to not abuse steroids. And so is that considered a toxic influence? Somebody who's tried and made more videos than anyone. That's right, nobody, as far as I've seen, has made more videos trying to convince people not to use steroids than Coach Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
And so I wanted to see, is Alex doing 200 milligrams of testosterone a week? Is that actually HRT? Is that what you should expect if you were to go to an HRT clinic with testosterone levels of 350? And so I decided to talk to Transcend. Wellness specialist Len from Transcend weighed in on the subject. What exactly could you expect if you went to Transcend and were to request getting HRT? Many people suffer from lower levels of testosterone. Perhaps it's from over dieting. Perhaps it's genetic. And so what would Transcend do with a guy like Alex Eubank if he stopped in to Transcend?
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
And so there's a lot of controversy in the fitness industry on a guy named Alex Eubank. He's been given 200 milligrams of testosterone a week and HCG. And the guy formerly had 933 nanograms per deciliter. And more recently, he went in with 350. 20 minutes later, he was prescribed all this stuff. And since that time, he's put on 12 pounds of muscle. And I'm wondering, is he being done dirty? Is he getting the proper dosage? If a guy like that, a guy in his early 20s, approached Transcend and had 350 nanograms per deciliter, would you prescribe them HRT? Is 200 too high of a dose? Is it proper? Or would they be given something else?
Yeah, Greg, that's a really good question. We get that question almost every day with people, men that are under the age of 30, asking, hey, is my testosterone low? Should I hop on TRT? And a lot of times, especially if you're under 25, unless you're hypogonadal, which means that your body's actually not producing any of your sex hormones. Typically, you're in normal range, even if you're on the lower end of normal. We wouldn't start you off right away on TRT, because if you start TRT, especially at a younger age, you're most likely going to be on it forever, and it'll shut down your natural production. So, and depending on how long you take it for, it's probably never going to get as high as where you are normally, naturally. So we would start you off, if you're 25 and you came to me and said, "Hey, I want to be on testosterone," and you're on the lower end of normal, we would not start you on TRT right away. We would start you on something like enclomiphene citrate, which is a natural fertility medication that helps with blocking estrogen receptors and helps naturally increase testosterone, as well as HCG, which helps produce testosterone naturally through the gonads. But this is more effective because if you stop taking it, your levels just go back to normal. They don't shut down. And so it's much healthier for an individual who's 24 years old. If they don't want to be on it forever, they can come off of it and be just fine.
So it sounds like it's a lot safer to start with enclomiphene, HEG, see how that works first, and say it goes up to, I don't know, 933 nanograms per deciliter. Remember, I've speculated if he's already on enclomiphene. He says he wasn't. I'll take his word on that. And so he could start with that. If it doesn't work, he could then go on HRT.
Exactly. We would see how the patient's response is and get follow-up blood work in, 60 to 90 days. If they're not getting a good reaction and they're taking their medication as prescribed, then you'll have more of a reason to go to TRT if that's necessary.
And TRT, don't get me wrong, it's testosterone replacement therapy. So you're replacing what you should be making. Now, if you're already in the normal range, is it normal to put on 12 pounds of muscle in 5 weeks? Or would that be more like testosterone optimization therapy or even a mini cycle?
Yeah, it's not normal to put on 12 pounds of muscle that quickly. I would say for the most part that if someone's gaining that much weight, unless they're just eating an ungodly amount of calories and they're just a genetic freak, there's probably some other supplementation going on there other than just testosterone.
Now, if you at Transcend prescribe somebody testosterone 200, let's say, and they put on 12 pounds of muscle, and they came back at, let's say, 1,500 nanograms per deciliter, what would you do then? Because I'm sure it's possible to overprescribe. Then what happens to that person at that point?
First of all, you're more likely to have conversion into your other sex hormones like your estrogen, which can cause things like gynecomastia, which, basically is the tissue buildup that causes a lot of pain and inflammation in the breast area. Also, feeling very moody and irate at times. Crying at every scene of a movie, is one that I've heard a lot before. It's like, I never felt this, some type of way before, but now, I feel so like almost bipolar, type of feeling. So we really take a less is more approach where, you might be approved for a certain dosage, but you can even take a little bit less than the approved dosage if you want. And see, how you feel, because some people might feel better at 700 and some people might feel better at 1,000, so, if you do the less is more approach, you're probably going to get the most out of it with the least amount of side effects.
And so what are the dangers of doing a dose at 200? Let's say it's too much for you. What are the dangers? Like, could it be bad for his heart, kidneys? Like, what could happen?
Well, the increase in red blood cell count is a big one. The thicker your blood is, the worse your blood circulation can be, the higher chance of things like liver, kidney failure, or even a stroke or a heart attack. Those are really, important things that you need to know about before starting anything like that. So if you have like a medical history of it, or even if, you're just curious and you want to know, hey, all these people I see online are taking testosterone. Is it right for me? You need to know that, there are negative consequences that can happen if you overdose it.
And we know from Alex's history, because he's posted this, he's open about this. He has anxiety problems in his past. He was literally hospitalized. His heart was beating too fast. He basically had what I think might be a panic attack. And so could being prescribed a lot of testosterone actually be dangerous for Alex?
It depends on, his dosing and how often he's getting blood work done. But I would just advise that, taking a less is more approach. And, being that he's 24, I would just make sure that he understands that this is something that's not a short-term thing. This is this is a long game. So, even if you take too much medication and you feel great for a couple weeks, it's 6 months from now, it's a year from now, it's 3 years from now. How do you still want to feel at the top of your game? So if you have that approach, then, you might want to kind of dial it down and make sure that you're consistent.
Okay, gotcha. Now, if somebody wants to reach out to Transcend and get their blood work done, perhaps go on HRT themselves or what have you, where can they reach you?
So you can go to the website or they can go to your link and fill out an intake form. It takes about 5 minutes to fill out, just name, address, phone number. And if you're in the States, you can schedule a call with one of our wellness specialists after you fill out the form. Go over your goals, go over what you're looking for, and then we'll determine, whether peptides or getting blood work done, and then the next step would be getting labs done if you wanted to address your hormones at all.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for your time.
1 hour later.
As you can see, as I expected, I don't feel that 200 milligrams a week for Alex Eubank is actually HRT. If you're actually on replacement, you don't gain 12 pounds of muscle in 5 weeks. Not only that, he should have first been prescribed, at least in Transcend's opinion, is HCG combined with enclomiphene. Now, if you don't remember, if you don't watch my channel, I literally have stated that I don't believe that Alex Eubank is natural. I believe he'd already been on enclomiphene. Now, he doesn't talk about this, he doesn't admit this, and so you have to take him for his word. He says he's 100% natural. And so is it not possible that he was on enclomiphene, got his testosterone levels to 933, and then stopped taking enclomiphene, and his testosterone levels went back down to normal? And so because of that, he then wanted more. He got a taste of enclomiphene, but now I want the real thing. And so he decides to go on 200 milligrams of test a week, which is more than Coach Greg has been doing for 5 years. And remember, I'm a former professional bodybuilder, competed 59 times, 42 of which were natural. And so I do believe I've slowly titrated up. When I first started HRT, I was given 100 milligrams. It then went to 120, 140, and now I'm going to be doing 170. And I have been given the green light to go with 200, but I always say, less is more. The lowest dose that makes me happy, that's the dose I'm going to take. I have very healthy blood work. I've been taking my blood work regularly for many years, and so it's okay for me to do so. I'm being monitored. I have my blood work done, and so I do believe it's okay. Remember, I'm 49. Alex is 24. He's on 200 milligrams, and he's put on 12 pounds. What more does he need to do? And so he might be thinking, yeah, but he feels so amazing. He feels so great. Yeah, I'm sure all drug abusers feel great when they're sniffing creatine. But eventually, the harmful side effects, they can add up. And so, Alex, please be careful. Think twice, perhaps 3 times, especially when it comes down to hanging around with Togi. He's a horrible influence on you. And so you got to be careful. And so, Alex, perhaps half the dose, 100 milligrams of test a week, add in Turk Max, GO2 Max, and see how you feel. There's a money back guarantee, and I believe at this point there's only been 6 people out of tens of thousands who've been given their money back. And so less than 0.1% of the population are dissatisfied. Imagine selling a supplement where over 99.9% of people, they don't need their money back. Remember, it's not just me. We have Johnny Shreve saying, guys, I definitely feel it. It feels amazing.
Like I do feel stronger. Like feel every rep, I feel like every fiber is just really just gripping everything, right? What could work for me might not work for anybody else.
And on the other end, we have Tanner, who used the product, got stronger, testosterone levels went up. Remember, it's not from the testosterone, but they did in fact go up. And so is he in fact hurting from the supplement? And so he says he doesn't feel it. That's fine. He could have gotten his money back. He chose not to do so.
That is 1 rep better than before. Maybe half a rep, depending on how you count it. Ugh. but it's taking me a while to get there. I don't think the Turk is working.
I'm not trying to take advantage of you. I truly believe 100% this product works for most people. And I'm telling you that for me, it's far, far stronger than even creatine. When surveyed 100,000 people, 50% said they didn't even notice they were taking creatine. They couldn't even feel it. Turkesterone, it's far, far superior. And the vast majority of turkesterone on the market, it's not actually turkesterone. And so if you want the real thing, look no further than Harder Than Last Time. Click the link in description, code Greg, 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch one of those two bloops, cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team. And don't forget, if you want a free diet and training program, get to the website. Also, the Harder Than Last Time clothing line, hoodies, tank tops, jogging pants, shorts, everything. Get it on the website. And until next time, I am out.